everyone. This is Rich making another video on XRP today, as usual. So, wherever you are in this amazing globe, I hope you're all having a nice day today. We are going to discuss XRP. This is the one-day chart once more. At the moment, we are mostly sitting at 218. All XRP is doing is moving sideways. The 7-day chart shows that it fluctuates between $2.15 and $225. Additionally, Bitcoin is slightly declining at the moment I'm creating this video, but it's still above 95K. All I want is for Bitcoin to start making a significant impact. That will indicate the start of alt season, after which we shall go on a utility run. If bulls overcome this price level, a breakout for XRP is imminent. This article's argument is that we will flip $3 if we break above $230 once more. Right now, I see a lot of people saying that, but I'm just waiting for a significant catalyst of some kind. The Fed is anticipated to lower interest rates this week, you know. That might also be highly significant for cryptocurrency. Additionally, everyone predicts that Bitcoin will also take off. They anticipate that the price of Bitcoin will reflect the M2 money supply. We will have to wait and see. Amid reports that it will acquire Circle, Ripple releases 1 billion XRP from escrow. 1 billion tokens were unlocked. 700 million tokens were locked back. It is completely unrelated to that circular deal. However, since Ripple and Circle are now being discussed daily, they must make stories about it. However, this month was the same as others. As everyone is aware, the unlock occurs at the start of each month. We proceed after Ripple locks XRP back into the escrow. It had no effect whatsoever on the price of XRP. According to an expert, I purchased XRP at 10 in order to cash out $100 rather than to be shook out at $2. Barry C., a community influencer, is the source of this. And he's full of it, in my opinion. I don't believe he paid 10 cents for XRP. He may have spent about 50 cents. He may have purchased about 17 cents. I purchased XRP immediately following the 2018 run. I think the lowest price I ever found for XRP was about $15. To get in at 10, you would have needed to purchase before the 2017-2018 run. Furthermore, XRP did not remain at 10 cents for too long. It reached its highest point ever, 3.84, after breaking beyond 10 cents. However, it makes no difference when you purchased your XRP. This is the strategy you should use. I would wait till at least $10 to $15 if you intend to profit from this run. I wouldn't sell your XRP for less than $100 if you intend to sell it later and don't intend to take a profit. My focus is primarily on passive income. However, since this is so big, anyone selling now, even if they purchased at 50, is missing the whole purpose of what's coming. As you can see, the institutions are keen to invest in XRP. Our ETFs may launch in the near future. The SEC hasn't even made an announcement about Ripple versus SEC yet. That will make it eligible for institutional adoption. Therefore, it will be another significant one. Additionally, we have regulations pertaining to cryptocurrency, and, ideally, they will be clarified before summer even arrives. I believe that it will occur at or soon after the stablecoin bill incident. I believe they will swiftly pass crypto legislation as soon as stablecoin regulations are established. I hope that it occurs as quickly as possible. Rates will be lowered by the Fed. Crypto will be worth trillions. The year of cryptocurrency is 2025, and I concur. Jerome Powell has been under constant pressure from Trump to lower interest rates, so I believe he has no choice but to do it now. Hey, now is a great time to cut rates, the Treasury is now suggesting. Powell only needs to show up and carry out the task. This week, will he do it? Let's hope that also occurs. According to a cryptocurrency inventor, having XRP is less risky than not holding it, and I concur with that. As I often tell people, what's the harm in buying perhaps 1,000 XRP, locking it away, and then coming back to look at it in 2 years? Keeping XRP is preferable than not keeping it at all, you know, particularly at this time since we are about to transition from the current financial system to a digital one. One of the main participants in the new financial system is XRP. You won't even need to wait that long, in my opinion. You could anticipate an easy 10x this year if you were purchasing XRP now, probably a 50x in the upcoming year. Additionally, since utility will be driving this cryptocurrency in the upcoming year, you can receive a 100% return or even more if you keep on to it. There is nothing that can prevent that from occurring. We are no longer in 2020, you know. We are no longer in 2022. In 2025, we have a pro-crypto administration, pro-crypto Congress, and pro-crypto SEC, and their only goal is to advance innovation. Why not keep this cryptocurrency in your possession? Well, I don't want to tie up my money, or crypto's just magical internet money, said everyone who remained on the sidelines. It's not real at all. When this cryptocurrency takes off, it will happen quickly, so they will simply miss out. This is your opportunity to enter. Listen, my buddies, I've been urging you to get in now or you'll see me get rich later. The best way to express it is that the acquisition of Circle by Ripple has the potential to make XRP a universal payment method. People told me that this potential takeover would never affect the price of XRP when I brought it up. For holders of XRP, what does it mean? Well, Ripple can simplify and streamline the payment system if it owns both of its stable coins, USDC and RLUSD. This implies that money can move more quickly and cheaply with fewer stages. This might be significant for XRP holders. XRP would be useful for more than simply international money transfers. Even with stable currencies, it might end up playing a significant role in the flow of money worldwide. Ripple might finally gain the trust Wall Street needs to take XRP and its impending ETFs seriously if it takes up that responsibility. I believe that Wall Street is already paying close attention to XRP. They observe the extent of its disruption of the banking system. Furthermore, Ripple would only strengthen itself and XRP if it were to acquire USDC. It would provide XRP access to a whole new range of uses. However, this agreement is not finalized. People claim that the agreement is already finalized. It took place in the background when no one was looking. Brad Garlinghouse would have come out and made a statement about this, or, at least, a simple X post, and everyone else would have been talking about it. That is why it hasn't happened yet. Since Circle now gains more from this trade than Ripple does, I still believe they will close it. Believe that Circle is in a very precarious situation. It's significant when you're deducting $1 billion from your revenue to pay Coinbase, and letting Ripple buy Circle is, in my opinion, the best approach to land a new contract. Ripple intends to transfer trillions or hundreds of billions of dollars between institutions around the world. Susan A., a renowned economist and former member of the Ripple Board of Directors. Listen to it. A number of people, including some of the well-known tech leaders in Silicon Valley, would stand up and say things like, scale economies, and the best thing doesn't always win, when I first started discussing alternative cryptocurrencies. In 2013, for example, and I was actively involved with Ripple at that time. The first was Bitcoin. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be used for everything. All of these other things will perish. Well, you know, if you're thinking about enterprise software, it's not just like the Betamax and VHS and, Netscape versus IE, I would add as I stood up and silently raised my hand. In actuality, there are usually numerous vertical solutions catering to distinct market segments with varying feature combinations in enterprise software. I therefore reasoned that we will observe various systems for various objectives, and that's actually kind of how it's changed. So I don't believe there is a one-size-fits-all solution. Ripple aspires to transfer hundreds of billions or maybe trillions of dollars between institutions around the globe. Thus, a highly scalable system is required, and it remains that way to this day. All you would see if you went to X at this moment is Bitcoin. Bitcoin. They want you to think that Bitcoin will rule the future financial system. Bitcoin's inability to scale is the issue. In addition to being slow, it is highly costly. The new financial system will never include it. And from 2014 to 2017, you may have predicted that Bitcoin would become widely used. The banking system will be overtaken by it, and all transactions will be made in Bitcoin. However, a change occurred as a result of everyone beginning to take Ripple seriously. Jamie Dimon most certainly did. To get some of the escrow, he dispatched a group of individuals to Ripple's offices. Ripple told Jamie Dimon that he could basically go pound sand. The escrow will not be given to you. And there was the beginning of the 2020 Ripple versus SEC case. However, the narrative changed when everyone recognized that there was a superior alternative to Bitcoin. At that point, Bitcoin suddenly became a store of value. Due to its failure as a payment system, it is now considered digital gold, and they continue to attempt to maintain those storylines in 2025. However, as Ripple has already expanded over the past 10 years and installed rails in every nation on the planet, it is more difficult to maintain the narratives. When you own XRP, you can tell that you are holding the future in this way. In the first place, it was never Bitcoin. Why the price of XRP does not yet reflect its actual value is not currently influencing XRP's price, and they immediately claim that over-the-counter transactions conceal the need for XRP. And I concur with that. The way XRP is being used is one of the primary reasons its usefulness has no bearing on its price. Instead than using public exchanges, the majority of institutional players purchase XRP over the counter. Therefore, despite banks using XRP for transactions, trading data does not reflect that volume. Despite the high utility, this separation keeps the price comparatively constant. As of yet, the banks are not engaging in enough transactions to affect the price of XRP. Additionally, I believe that the banks are testing out XRP in a big way. Although Hidden Road is a trump card, things can change shortly. Hidden Road was recently acquired by Ripple. Though not yet, we are aware that it will be a significant event. In the upcoming months, that will become a significant issue. I think that ETFs and speculation could help overcome the gap. I believe that ETFs will provide institutional investors with a means of gaining some exposure to XRP, and after they begin to understand what it is designed to do, some of them may decide to fully engage in XRP. But that's what's currently preventing XRP from moving forward. The worth of tokens is still not apparent to us. The value is still loaded. It will eventually appear, and you should hold on to it when it does. This indicates that there are undoubtedly institutions purchasing XRP over the counter or in those dark pools, and that the number of XRP whales is increasing. A Glassnode chart shows that the number of addresses holding 10K or more has reached a record high, and that XRP has surpassed 300K, indicating strong investor confidence. A portion of this is now retail purchasing. However, every time you see a transaction for XRP, such as 29 million, you see it being purchased and then passing through wallets. Usually, that XRP is being moved by institutions. Retail isn't what that is. Therefore, I do think that there are a lot of over-the-counter trades on XRP. However, I believe that XRP will remain locked away for a very long time, particularly if they intend to use it for its intended purpose. Thus, that would undoubtedly result in shortages later on. However, as I mentioned at the start of this video, XRP is still looking great right now. All it's doing is moving sideways. I am still sitting at $218. Additionally, I'm hopeful that Bitcoin maintains its 95K level until the following week. Additionally, let's hope that the Fed lowers interest rates and stimulates the market. But until it all comes together, have patience, maintain your optimism, and let's make money together. That being said, I will now conclude this video. I want to thank everyone who watched. Thank to everybody. The next one will see you. Enjoy your evening.